Good late afternoon slash early evening, everybody. That's right, I didn't forget. It is Wednesday, so it's time for Wilson Wednesday. And it's nice when advanced metrics like these nitty gritty statistics confirm what you thought you saw, right? Like, you shouldn't be using metrics like this to completely form your takes, but you should be using them to see if what you see on the field is matching up with what the experts say is in the numbers. So I said after that 49ers game that I think Wilson did a pretty good job getting the ball out of his hands a little quicker, going for shorter stuff, taking checkdowns, and playing a little more controlled and a little less high variance. And the stats did bear that out, starting with, as we always lead off with, his air yards. So let's just go ahead and take a look here. His air yards per pass attempt is now down to 9.4 because they went down almost half a yard against the 49ers. So his completions, his yards per completion were actually like really low for him. They were around like 6 or 7 or something, I think. So he was making a concerted effort to take the shorter stuff, and it shows up in the stats. So it's down to 9.4, which is equal to his, as as far as I know, career high in 2019, but it's almost half a yard down from where it was last week. So we are trending in the right direction here. I think this is a positive sign. His air yards per pass completion also went down a little bit from, or well, not a little bit, quite a bit, almost half a yard. Um, this makes sense. The passes he threw where he noticeably missed, where he like actually threw an inaccurate ball, were mostly the deep shots to Metcalf that he took, where Metcalf seemed like he had his guy beat, but Wilson just missed by a little bit. So that makes sense too. Wilson did not really have a lot of success hitting big plays against the Niners. The only one he really had was the 3rd and 14 shot to Metcalf that got us near the goal line. But other than that, it was mostly just get it out, get it out, get it out. And I'm here for it, man. Yards after the catch per pass completion also went down quite a bit, down to 5.3, which is not what we really want to see here. But variance being what it is, I don't know if that's anything we have to really worry about a lot yet. I do think that it is reasonable to say part of the problem with the yards after the catch stuff is that a guy like a Tyler Lockett is going to fall down at the catch a lot. Like that's just the way he plays right now, which is understandable, but that did drop about half a yard. Bad throws. Wilson did make a few bad throws. According to PFF, he threw 5. I don't remember what the other ones were. I remember a few on the shot plays to Metcalf that I thought were off. Metcalf probably could have had a monster game if Wilson had hit him on some of those shot plays. Other than that, I really didn't notice a whole lot of bad throws. Maybe one of the bubble screens was a little behind Swain, I think it was Freddie Swain, and it resulted in a negative play because Swain wasn't able to catch it cleanly and then run up the field. But it was pretty good. His bad throw percentage is about in line with where it's been lately, about 17%, a little below. And he had mostly on target throws. I think he had a 31 according to PFR. His on target throw percentage is in line with expectations. And we do have to remember that he did play 3 games with, presumably, his finger bugging him and affecting his accuracy negatively. There were a lot of throws in those 3 games he lost coming back off the injury where he's off by so much, it's impossible to think anything other than he has to be affected by something beyond just the bad throws that a quarterback's going to make over the course of a game. Pocket time was at the same level that it's been at before, still 2.3. You're not going to see a lot of movement here. Like any movement you see in pocket time is going to be relatively glacial because the margins are so thin there. But he is taking a little less pocket time this year compared to previous years, which I think is partially promising, but it's also partially indicative of the fact that the offensive line has deteriorated a bit. Like the offensive line last year in pass blocking was pretty good outside of the Rams playoff game. This year it's starting to get away from us as the season goes on. Like, I saw some stuff against the 49ers that made me think of the Tom Cable offensive lines. Now, that being said, I don't think that paints the full picture here. Basically, if you look at the full-on pressure numbers, Wilson was sacked 4 times. He was hurried, I believe, 3 times, and he was hit 3 times. So he got pressured 10 times in that game on over 40 dropbacks, I think. That's that's not terrible at all. And I do think that there was a very clear shift in the offensive line's competency when Kyle Fuller went out and Jake Curhan went in. As much as Jake Curhan did allow a couple of sacks in that game, I think there was a stabilizing presence once he came in. And I hope we can maintain that. His pressure percentage is about where it's been the last 2 seasons, a little less than 28%, so everything's lining up there. Finally, he had, I think, 2 scrambles, and he had, what was it, 12 play actions? Yes, he had 12 play action attempts. So it seems like the play action is going up as the season goes on. Earlier in the season, I think we were averaging, in the Wilson games, we were averaging like 7 play actions a game. So now we've got a game where we had 12. And I know the running game is bad, guys. But play action can still be effective even when you can't run the ball. It maybe won't be as effective, but it's still effective. So the more play action, the better. That's the kind of stuff that I like. That's the kind of stuff that I can go for. That's the stuff that makes me feel like we might be starting to integrate this new offense in properly. So that's it for Wilson Wednesday, really. My main thing is the air yards. The air yards went through the floor this week. This much movement this late in the season is pretty significant, and it shows that Wilson played a different style of football against the Niners. Now, there are other things that need to happen in tandem with that, like the yards after the catch, but there is a lot of different factors here that have to be taken into consideration, like the fact that our offensive line is becoming relatively untrustworthy. Hopefully Damian Lewis can install some level of competency at that left guard position, and he'll be back this week, I think, or at least I have some optimism about it. So there's some stuff here that might surprise some people. I think, like, the pressure numbers are not bad at all. Coming out of that 49ers game, I thought the offensive line had a miserable game pass blocking through most, but I think maybe I'm making those Kyle Fuller snaps a little bigger in my head than they actually are. So let me know what you guys think down below, but I think this is encouraging for Wilson. Now, regardless of how Wilson plays the rest of the way, there are still obstacles surrounding trying to keep him going forward that I've outlined many times. But if he can continue to play like this, at least we can say that, hey, this Shane Waldron year 1, it wasn't great. It had problems, but by the end of the year, Wilson was really starting to pick it up. Wilson was really starting to thrive in it. We got 5 games left. We'll see what happens, but that's it for Wilson Wednesday. See you guys later. Go Hawks.